dark oak forests are just so inspiring. That's why with this video, I wanted to go ahead and do some building in one of my absolute favorite biomes and favorite themes. Let's get started, shall we? So to start off with this build, I'm going to be, as usual, planning it out. My plan throughout this build, however, shifted quite a lot. I hadn't thought it out a lot beforehand or really planned it out on paper. I just sort of started building and went wherever I felt. Originally, I was inspired from the castle from Beauty and the Beast, so I wanted to do a more fantasy-themed castle. But quickly, the more I started building and the more I experimented with different block palettes and detail ideas, the more this turned into more of a palace or decorative sort of mansion or manor in the deep dark forest. I wanted this to still have a very overgrown theme and used a very nature-based palette, lots of stone and lots of wood. We go around each side individually once it's planned out and give them all of the details that they need. I was sure with this one to use lots of different roof designs and shapes, and I think that really helps with that fantasy feel that I'm going for. We've got towers that are stacked very, very high and bridges connecting them, and all of this really adds to the atmosphere of the entire build. I love the details that I was able to add here, but after some thinking about things, I realized that the block palette I was using wasn't exactly the way that I wanted it. I wanted to be able to use purple as a little bit of an accent, and I loved the nether bricks with the greens of a forest. After adding in a whole bunch of details and seeing the manor all together, I decided that I actually wanted to completely reverse this palette. So once the details are in, I go ahead and change the spruce roofing back over to the nether brick, and then I make the spruce be the edge. Reversing this and adding in those white walls really helped with the atmosphere of this build, as the color of a build is so incredibly important. Here are some examples of how a color change, even a very simple one, can completely change a build. Now that the manor is complete, I'm going to be working on the landscape around it, first smoothing everything out and then beginning on the planning phase of a small little village just outside of this manor, starting by marking in the foundations, the walls, and the roofs. I mark this all in with full blocks because this gives me a much easier time with the detailing afterwards. I can get my shape completely done, then I can fill everything in, fill in the walls, the roof, and the foundation, and then I go back in after and layer in some details. Doing things in this order helps me out so much. It speeds up my building process, it stops me from making too many silly mistakes, and it just helps me plan it out better overall and not get stuck halfway through a build, as I used to do quite a lot. I'm really happy with how these buildings turned out. I sort of did a couple different house variants, a little gatehouse, some different things that could maybe act as shops. They all have big staircases coming up to them, big windows for details, and I was sure to add chimneys and windowsills with lots of greenery to really fit with that foresty feel. For the palette of these houses and the walls, I'm actually going with mushroom block. I really enjoy the texture of the mushroom block, and I think it adds quite a lot to almost that like painted on wallpaper feel to these houses without it being too bright or too plain. It's just the right amount of texture that I needed with just the right amount of color, because mushroom block, especially the white one, has a lot more beige colors instead of gray, which I quite enjoy. After adding another quick tower that'll be buried deep in the forest, and one more house up on this hill, we can finally call this village complete. I love all of the little details that are all around it. Now it's time for those finishing touches. We need to make this look like a forest. When I was starting this build, I cleared out all of the forest, so I'm gonna bring it back in the form of these amazingly beautiful custom trees and custom mushrooms. Adding these in helps the build out so much, and I was so excited to see it come together with all of these little pops of color and greenery. It's definitely some of my favorite things to build, as I'm sure you already know if you're a fan of this channel. With these final details in, it's time to go check out the finished build. The shaders I have on are Sidlurs shaders. They are my absolute favorite shader pack, and I'll link them down in the description if you would like to get yourself some. I am playing on a laptop, so I can run these shaders fairly well because it has a graphics card. But These shaders are available in a light version if your computer cannot handle them very well. I'm so excited to walk through this build with you. I worked so hard on it and I love how it turned out. The fantasy and forest feel with the giant mushrooms fits the dark oak forest so well. I love all of the large custom trees that I've been able to add, and I wanted to take you through here in game because I have done just a couple of interiors. I haven't completed all of the interiors, but the interior that I've done I'm very proud of and I wanted to show it off. Let's start with this house right here. I'm actually super proud of this. I think it has that super cozy feel. I just love it. It's got all of that warm lighting from the fireplace, and I made sure to put the fireplace exactly where the chimney goes up on the exterior so it makes sense. We also have a little kitchen over here as an added bonus, a seating area, and I was sure to put lots of planters throughout this entire area because I imagine these people would find the outdoors and the plants and the forest to be very important to them. Upstairs we have the bedroom. Very simple. All I did up here was add in a couple of those purple beds, some storage area. It's got a lovely looking out area over the dining room and that big window there. And we also have this small enchanting area. Through the door right here, we have a balcony, and this person who lives here just has the most glorious view, in my opinion. I mean, you've got the water over there, shimmering through the trees, all of these beautiful tree canopies shining through, and the sunlight from the sunrise, and a view of the little lone tower over there. I really love this. I wish I could actually live here. I would love sometime to write a story about the person who does live in this little quaint house next to the Woodland Manor. I think that would be so exciting. I hope you guys like it. Anyways, let's continue our journey through the forest because I think I've done a fairly okay job of adding a lot of atmosphere throughout here as you walk through. I love that there is still a canopy of trees above us as the clouds float along, so it fits with that dark oak forest theme. As we come towards here, passing this larger house that I've done, we open up into an area that was originally just a plains biome. I've left this a little bit open so that we have a very good view of the manor. Before stopping by here, you have the option to continue into the forest to one of the more secluded houses, and you can even follow this little dirt trail that carries you off towards the tower. I love this view here, and with the shaders and those light rays shining through the tree, it just makes it so much more magical. I just love it here, with the mountains in the background and the big manor up over the tree canopy, and of course the magical mushrooms. It's just so lovely to be here. Let's walk past and go into the manor now. I have done a little bit of interior ideas in the manor just to kind of get some inspiration flowing. Haven't done the entire thing. It's quite a big structure and I built this whole thing in the last 2 days, so I don't have a whole ton of time. I would love to come back in here sometime, perhaps in a live stream, and complete the entire interior because I am just so inspired by it. But as we enter in the front door here, we are presented by a fairly dark at the moment, but you get the point. You got some staircases going up and a tree in the center, which again, I think it fits because of the nature-y theme that we've got going. And as we come through here, we've got a much lighter room. And I decided that even though this is a manor, I wanted to do a little bit of a throne. Like the person here kind of worships trees, or they really just love the forest. So they've taken a part of a sacred tree here and they sort of turned it into a throne, which I think is appropriate. The view as we exit with the chicken walking along our path. Oh, I just love it. These shaders really definitely do this forest justice, and I have loved looking at it with you. I hope that you guys love this build as much as I do because I am just in love with this theme. I would love to build it over and over and over again. Seriously, it's definitely one of my favorites. I just love when a theme is so inspiring to you that you just can't help but to keep going with it. It feels so good. Let me know what your thoughts are in this build down in the comments down below. I can't wait to hear from you. And thank you so much for watching this video. I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye everyone!